Hypnotherapy to resolve childhood trauma. Hi, I'm Dan Ross, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about how you can use hypnosis to resolve childhood trauma. And by resolve, we can't change what happened, but we can change a response to what happens. And there are people who go through seemingly traumatic events that aren't particularly affected by them. For me, when I was a kid, I think I was about 5 or 6 years old, I stuck a screwdriver into a light socket. Please don't try this at home. And I got shocked. It actually threw me against the opposite wall of the room. And it should have been traumatic, and I actually was just curious about it. Like, wow, what's this amazing thing called electricity you can't see but has so much power, right? And it's not that I'm so great, it's just, and I've had other experiences which other people might find, very innocuous that I found traumatic. And so it's not so much what happens, it's what you do with what happens. It's the response that you have to it. So if you're still affected with some fear, some anxiety, some post-traumatic stress, or you get angry, or you get triggered, or things like that, then that's the kind of way to know, come on in and let's clean that up. So the first step, as I talked about in the previous videos, is let's find what the traumatic events are, and you may be consciously aware of them or not. And when I start with a new client and they mention trauma, I say, great, bring in a list of traumatic events and we'll neutralize them for you. So to neutralize them, we kind of get you out of it. We change the way you experience it in your mind, because again, it's not what happens, it's what you do with what happens. There's coded in your memory the way that you see it when you think about it, the way you hear it, if that's relevant, the way you feel about it. Again, smell and taste may be relevant or may not be. But we actually change the coding in your mind. It's like taking a virus out of your computer and replacing the damaged code with good new code. And that's what we do when we actually neutralize it. And we do that again by sort of scrambling it in your mind and just changing it so that you never think about it the same way again. And often what happens is at the end of the session, people will say, yeah, it just feels like a regular memory. It feels neutral. In the previous video, I said, think about your lunch yesterday. And often I'll tell people, think about, your lunch that you had on March 16th. So it's August when I'm shooting this video now. So 7 months ago, it would, unless it was an amazing lunch, it would probably just feel really neutral. I don't know what I had for lunch. It was lunch, right? And that's what we want it to be, and that's what happens when we neutralize the trauma with the trauma neutralization protocol, a series of relatively simple steps that I guide you through. And as they often say, this won't hurt a bit. So you never have to think about it the same way again. When you think about it, it just becomes neutral. Now I want to address one other piece here, which is sometimes there's what seems like resistance to change. And that's often why people come in for hypnotherapy, because, well, I've tried everything to change this, but it won't change, so hypnotize me and just make it go away. And we can make it go away. But it's really, if someone is kind of stuck, we address that because often when something traumatic happens, especially in childhood, we learn a coping mechanism. And it could be, stay away from that kind of person, or don't get into that kind of situation. It's often something to stay away from or to not do. That becomes a protective mechanism. And we just want to let the sort of inner, younger part of that person know, hey, you're safe now. That thing is over. And that will, rather than overcoming resistance, we actually befriend that inner part of you that is maybe objecting in some way. And often people find that pretty profound because they're used to fighting themselves. So, I really, really want to give this public speech, but I'm terrified because of that thing that happened when I was 6, and I was standing up in front of the school and everybody laughed at me and I dropped my notes and whatever happened, right? So we want to address the conflict, and again, that can be fairly easy when we just have you kind of soothe that inner part of you, help you make friends with it. So hypnosis is commonly used to not only find traumatic memories, but also to be able to neutralize them. And to find out more, you can contact me for a consultation session. I'd be happy to go over how the process works with you, and for a fit to have you come in, and we'll neutralize whatever traumas you have. I'm Dan Ross, and I'll see you soon.